I'm David Domke. I'm chair of the communication department here at the University of Washington. We have a opportunity every once in a while to talk with an alum or a faculty member or staff or student about some kind of interesting work that they're doing. We call these chats with the chair, and I'm real pleased to be joined today by one of our outstanding alums, Nozzolillo, or Alixandra Nozzolillo, and she's a 2004 alum of ours, and today she's going to be receiving the Early Career Outstanding Alumni Award, which is an award we give to one person each year who's doing really tremendous work in the community. So we're going to chat a little bit with Alex and just kind of like figure out how you got to where you're at, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Great. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up right on Queen Anne Hill, right near UW. I went to Roosevelt High School, Seattle Public Schools, and I actually drove by UW almost every day before I came here. So it was, really special to be able to come to a school that was so close to home.
What was this kind of a place where you had certain ideas about the university and then those ideas were met or not met? How did that play out?
My mom is an alumni from here, and so she was just thrilled when I came to University of Washington. And she loved the communication department. She always talked highly about all the great things that she learned and all of her great professors. So I came in and I took a lot of different classes. I actually had your class my first semester or first quarter here.
And you stayed. That's great. That's great.
It was great. Well, you were relatively new here.
Yes.
At the time, and also the Department of Speech Communication and the Department of Communication were in the middle of the merge.
Yeah.
And it was just a really exciting time for the department. And so, everything, you have assumptions when you go to college, and I think that this department exceeded those expectations. And there was so much that I got to learn with the speech communication and the, communication sides of it.
Sure. So when you started to kind of decide to major, what were the thoughts on your mind? Were you thinking about a career? Were you thinking about, I'm just excited about this content? Kind of what was that process of decision making like?
So it was really difficult. I came in wanting to do chemistry and communication, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to sort of go through a pre-medical, which I did all of that just in case, but I really just wanted to have a very broad education because I didn't know what I wanted to do completely, and part of me still doesn't know what I want to do because we continue to evolve and grow, and so if you asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't know where I am now, and so going here, I wanted, communication is the heart of everything. You can do anything with a degree like this, and so I just thought if I did science and communication, then I could go kind of anywhere in any field, and so that was my motivation to do that.
Wow. So you graduated in 2004, and so what came next for you?
Yeah, so I graduated a year early because I came in with a lot of credits, and I took a lot of courses, and so I really didn't know what I wanted to do yet, and I got a job at Fred Hutch and another job at Children's, and spent the next year and a half, working in two different labs because I just wasn't sure. So I did, neuro-oncology research one place, and I did gene therapy research another place. What I learned from that is that, animal models is an important piece of work, but I can't do that. And I also learned that, cancer research was important to me, and I wanted to do more of that. So I applied to graduate school from there.
So someone gets a communication degree and they end up working in a lab, right, around animals and around cancer, right, these kinds of things. And so that's not a combination that is the stereotype for communication. But how did communication matter in that kind of place for you?
Oh my gosh, communication matters every day, everything that you do, lab meetings, to be able to communicate your science to others, to take a slide and put it into terms that everybody can understand at those journal clubs. And it was instrumental in my master's program to, write my journal article for virology. I mean, everything that you do is the heart of, you go back to your journalism class, you go back to your ethics courses, you go back to everything. Also the speech communications courses that I took with Jerry Phillipson were just, that was something that was really missing for me. So, I wanted to try out the science path, but communication kept calling me back. And so, you can't, at some level, when you're there, and especially in graduate school, you have your cells and you're in the lab and you're at the microscope, it's great to understand team dynamics and group think, and, when you're building a project and creating that framework. So communication is vital there, but I was missing that human component and that human interaction. I would talk to my HeLa cells. That book, that book about Henrietta Lacks, like it really resonated with me because I would look at these cells as a human being, and I would be so appreciative of her cells that these cells were taken from her in the 1950s and she passed away. And my degree in graduate school worked on cervical cancer, and that's what she passed away from. So but then I kept thinking to myself, it's really important. I would love to work with patients. So that's kind of where I went next, because that component of communication was really missing for me to understand more about the person and not just about the disease or ailment.
So if you were going to say to an incoming freshman or let's say more like a junior who's entering the major, what would you say to them about these are the 2 or 3 things you want to be sure to experience or to think about before you graduate?
So something that I didn't do enough of was networking. I didn't realize that college was so important for networking. And I think that, in some ways I missed out on those experiences because I was so focused on just getting a broad liberal arts education that I didn't spend the time with my peers really networking enough. So I think that that's something that's really important. And I think another thing is that when you're in college, you don't have the responsibilities that you have now as in a work environment as an adult, right? Like you're an adult in college, but you don't have kids, you don't have a family, you don't have a house and all of those kind of things. And so you have this unique opportunity to really explore what you're interested in. And I was really focused on that next step and like what was that next step because I didn't have a good idea. So I probably would have explored and done more internships as well. I think that would have been really valuable. Not that I went through, I love the direction that I went and I think it was great. But I think that, networking and just doing a lot of internships and getting a lot of different experiences might have been really helpful.
So now you're doing work on brains and health with athletes, right? And so could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I'm really excited for the work that we do. I'm the Associate Director for Player Relations for the Football Players Health Study at Harvard University. We're housed at Harvard Medical School, but it's really a collaborative effort between Harvard, all of its schools, so like the School of Public Health, the medical school, the university itself, and also all of our affiliated hospitals and institutions around Boston. So we are drawing from a lot of the experts in the country, and we are head to toe, whole player, whole life, whole body health. And we have a first questionnaire that went out. We're all former NFL players. That's what we're focused on is former player health. So when they leave the league, what happens to their bodies and how do we take care of them? And my assumption going into this was that former players, they got these huge contracts. They have everything set out for them, all this really great health care. Like why do we need to help them? And I soon learned after speaking with some of them that, their healthcare runs out and they go on COBRA like the rest of us. That, these certain securities that I just assumed were there with their contracts aren't there. And that they really do, former players, and because of the collective bargaining agreements, they really do need to be taken care of. And furthermore, there's a lot of them that live in just this chronic pain state with their joints, mobility. I mean, some of them are totally fine. Not a problem. They took care of themselves, or they were lucky in terms of hits. But from their head to their toes, there's different things that causes them pain from day to day. They have ACL tears, hip replacements, you name it. They've encountered, and so I'm really driven by just enhancing their quality of life, and I'm hoping that the work that we do, so we started with, a basic questionnaire to understand what is important to the former players. We are now the largest study of former professional football players, of living former players who have taken a survey ever. And we're, just hovering around 3,000 right now, and we're gaining momentum and still growing. We just launched the Team Study app on the Apple iPhone that's open to the general public. So anyone, including you, can download our app and participate in player health. And we're hoping that not only can the general public participate in player health and do these activities and surveys, but it'll give us a control group to understand what's specific to players and what the general public comparatively. And so we have questions of the week where we return it, and we really get to see the difference between that. So a lot of exciting things that we're doing, and we're learning from the players what's important to them, and we're researching and doing something for them to help their health.
I think kind of maybe one more big question about this. So it seems like there is much more societal attention and professional athletic attention to the brain, to health, to the physical, not just the brain, but to the health of these people after they're done playing, right? I have a son who plays a lot of sports, and he'll say something to me like, Dad, my head hurts. Do you think I have a concussion? And I'll say, no, I don't think so. And he said, well, should we do the concussion protocol? Okay. And so why do you think there's more attention now?
That's I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's sort of going on with the media. I know that there is a worry among players about their health. For me, it's not just about the brain, and it's not just about a concussion. Is it the repeated small hits that are causing issues with memory and cognition and things like that? Yeah. Or is it the big blows? I'm not sure at this point, and I'm hoping that we can really elucidate that in our research and help them and do something for them. Because if you know what's wrong and don't do anything, that's not helping. But if you know what's wrong and we can actually do something and develop a treatment, an earlier diagnostic, a preventative technique, that's what we're doing. So we're identifying and then actually doing something about it for them.
Is this project in collaboration with the NFL, or is it completely separate from the NFL?
Right now it's completely separate from the NFL.
So these are athletes that you interact with after they're done retiring, and they're free to come to see you.
Absolutely. So, most former players, so we don't call them retired players, we call them former players, because most players don't leave on their own accord.
Okay.
Which is, something that was new to me as well. I thought guys just retired and that was it. But frequently I hear from former players. We have an advisory board of former players that I work closely with, and they tell me a lot of things, and I was a rookie for that first year. But I think that it's really important to just listen to them, what's important to them, and that's what we're doing.
So you're back here, and we're presenting you today with our Outstanding Early Career Alumni Award. And that's an award that we started about 6 years ago, I think, to give to somebody who is absolutely having professional success, but is also doing work in communities in ways that really better people's lives, right? And so it is a tremendous honor for us to recognize you, and we have a wall of recognition just outside of this studio right here where your name's going to be up there, right? And people are going to come through, and they do this, and they're like, who is this individual? And we start to tell them, right? So I just want to say we have great gratitude and pride in having you as one of our alums.
Thank you so much. It is just truly an honor, and my experience here was amazing, starting with your class. And so, I just want to thank you for everything and for your inspiration from the beginning.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take total credit for all of this, okay? No, thank you. Just like everybody, our students make their own ways. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. I'm David Domke. I'm chair of the Department of Communication. This was a chat with the chair with Alixandra Nozzolillo, who is our Outstanding Early Career Alumni for 2016. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, good day.